this has got something true. So we're back. One of my favourite bands is Dream Theater. So we're backstage with Dream Theater. I'm talking to John Petrucci and Jordan Rudess and all these guys. I'm talking to all the guys. We're with all the other bands and generally having a laugh and whatever. Going out to see Metallica, listening to Metallica rehearse their songs in a truck, and this, that, and the other. So we're doing all that, which is great. We came home on the night, and I got up the next morning, and the first thing I had to do was clear up dog shit in the back garden. and if there's anything that can bring you back down to earth.
No kidding. That's right.
Yeah. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah. It's funny. I thought this was going to relate to the dog shit story. And somehow or another, I had ESP that was going to come down to that. It's going to come down to a bag of duty. I knew it.
Brilliant.
Do you know the Dave Darren Show?
Not enough to boil a monkey's bum.
Most people say, who the fuck is Dave Darren?
Like Disneyland, I'm the happiest fucking guy on earth.
Who the fuck is Dave Darren?
Who the fuck is Dave Darren?
Are you a poof duck?
He used to be on terrestrial radio, but he got fired.
It's over. Don't you think it's over?
I'll spit.
Who the fuck is Dave Darren?
Here comes the boss fella now.
Dave Darren.
Welcome to the Dave Darren Show. I've got a really kick-ass band on. I've got Daylight Robbery on. How's it going, man?
It's good, dude.
Good, and I've got Mark here from the band, right?
That's it, mate.
Okay, now what does Daylight Robbery mean? I got to tell you, I live in New York City. There's a lot of, people are becoming really crazy now. They're doing daylight robbery. So is Daylight Robbery the name of your band, or is it the name of your daytime gig, and that's what you're doing during the day, and I got the wrong band name?
No real deep story for the actual name of the band. It was just it sounded cool at the time. It's a band that myself and can't let me think now. The singer Tony, we got together when we were kids and we formed this band and wrote some songs and whatever. And we kind of drifted apart and stayed in touch on a very occasional level. And then, God, when was it now? About 2011, we happened to bump into each other and get talking about music again. And it was just an idea, why don't we try and write some stuff again? And we just got together for a bit of a laugh more than anything else. And it ended up turning into, geez, these songs are good. Shall we get a band together? Shall we get an album together? We had lots of interest in record companies and this, that and the other. So we just ended up doing it really as, not so much a hobby, because we've always taken it very seriously. So effectively we got the band together, got these songs together, and then that album, for whatever reason, became really popular. And we ended up playing with guys like Uriah Heep. We ended up doing a small tour with those guys in the UK. We were playing all sorts of good festivals in the UK. And getting really good reviews. So it all kind of spiraled from there, really. But there was no, as far as the name of the band goes, it was really just a suggestion by Tony a long time ago. And when we got together working again, we carried on with the same name. We pulled together some good musicians that we knew. And in true Spinal Tap style, since then we've had 4 drummers. A couple of them spontaneously combusted. Things like that. So yeah, 4 drummers. 2 keyboard players, but the front 3 of the band, if you like, the guys that are effectively at the front, the singer, the bass player, and the guitar player, we've always stayed consistent. And hopefully now the lineup that we've got now is He's very consistent. It's been the same now for a year or so since we got the drummer in, who's a guy called Rob Chivers, who's an awesome guy. And he's really kicked ourselves, to be honest, because he's more of a classic rock kind of heavier drummer, whereas previously we've always kind of been airing towards AOR, not through choice, just because that's how we write. And but he's definitely given us more of a classic rock kind of edge. So I think the next album that we're currently working on, it might be a little bit heavier than the albums we've done in the past.
Oh, very cool. We'll see. Yeah, very cool. By the way, you said a couple drummers there spontaneously combusted. I've had 3 wives, and all 3 of them have spontaneously combusted. And I wish they combusted, meaning that the breast grew out bigger. I would like to see combusted that way, like more bust. Come on with the bust. That'd be a better meaning for combusted, right?
Oh man, that is quality. That is quality.
No,
and where do these wives come? Where do these wives currently reside? Are they in a well somewhere? Are they under the patio?
Yeah, I have a pool in the backyard. One is there. One of them is serving some time in jail. I was able to get her thrown in jail. So.
Mate, we should be talking about you, not me. It's much more interesting.
So I'll tell you what, let's play some interesting music. I've got a bunch of tracks here from you. And, you said I could pick, but if you had to pick one to start off the show, because I always want the band to pick the front opening track of the music. So I've got...
Oh, okay. I'll go with... I'll go with Samara. Samara Never Sleeps.
Oh, cool. I've got that one. So here we go on the Dave Darren Show.
Hold your secret to set free. I see you go.
I've just pinged out the guys in the band because they're all dotted here, there, and everywhere, and I've just pinged them a note on Facebook just saying, guys, this guy's a legend. We should have all jumped on the call. Yeah.
Oh man, thanks so much. Well, welcome back to the Dave Darren Show. I've got this kick-ass band, Daylight Robbery, on. Now I got to tell you, recently I've had a lot of UK bands on, and you guys really fucking are rocking with the unity, the supporting of my show, the coming on my show. You guys in the UK, besides having women with these hot accents that I'd like to make that my fourth wife, and I would like the fourth one not to combust, so I like her to be from Britain. Tell me what it's like in England, because you guys really have your act together. It seems like you guys love music, you love performing. It seems like, do you guys believe that you have an edge on the United States now? Because I think you do.
I don't know. It's strange at the moment that the whole music scene is kind of weird at the moment because the whole, the internet and all the different streaming platforms and all that, it feels like there's no... I was having this conversation with the guys the other day saying, okay, so let's take one of the big festivals, let's take Download, for example. So you've got all these, bands on with some of these huge headliners, which invariably consist of Iron Maiden, Metallica, maybe Slipknot, but bands like that, bands of that stature. But these bands have been around for a while now, but because of the way the industry's going, where are the huge bands coming up behind them that are going to take over when those guys have moved on? So it is a strange one because there doesn't seem to be any... To get bands to be that size now, there needed to be, and originally there was the investment from the record companies to get them to that size. But that doesn't seem to be there anymore. Everything's very self-generating, and you have to really work hard yourselves, which you've always had to do. You've always had to work hard to get yourself out there, but there's no financial commitment anymore from record companies and things like that. So it's really a case of pushing yourself as hard as you can. So it's kind of a strange one. There's a lot of good festivals. There's a lot of good activity, but when you consider the absolute top level, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go. Because it always seems to be Metallica or Iron Maiden. Kiss obviously do an absolutely amazing show, but there's no one coming up behind them to take over from them. It doesn't feel.
Yeah, I agree with that. And here's something. Recently, I had this other radio personality on, and him and I go to battle once in a while. Although I don't consider it a battle. I fucking demolished the guy. But he's on a classic rock station, and I tell him, his career is kind of classic because it's from the past, and he's got no success of a career at the moment. So But I got to tell you, we have classic rock, and we have a bunch of stations in the United States. We've got either popular music stations. It's not called popular anymore. It's called pop. And I said that the reason we call it pop now and not popular is we've taken all of the talent and smushed it together and cut it out, and there's a lack of talent now in pop music. Yeah. That's why it's abbreviated to pop, right? And then we got classic rock stations constantly. And, we don't have anything filling the gap. So what the fuck is going to happen 20 years from now? We're still going to be playing music from 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, and 60 or 70 years ago is classic rock. We need new guys out there with new vibrant music, the stuff that we're hearing today, and it's vibrant and great enough where it needs to be out there right now so that it becomes the replacement of classic rock, which is you're right, it is Kiss and all that stuff, but they don't even play deep tracks of Kiss. It's the same tracks over and over.
It's just recycled, isn't it?
Yeah, it's recycled. Yeah, it's recycled. What's the primary thing that's recycled? Garbage, right? Garbage is recycled, right? So we're recycling garbage.
Yeah, and it's true when you say, and then on the other side of the scale, so you've got that on one side, which is the internet, everything, and then you have bloody, America's Got Talent and Britain's Got Talent and all these bloody talent shows where people haven't necessarily got any talent. Their ambition is just to be famous for whatever. Yeah. They haven't put the groundwork in or any of these things, paid their dues, and the way these things are brought forward is it's going for people that have got incredible voices and they're very talented, but there's no bands there. And you're not going to get singers, when you think of all the great singers, they're not necessarily technically brilliant, but there's something about their voice that people can associate to. But you're never going to get that with something like a Britain's Got Talent or America's Got Talent, because they're looking for a person that can do everything. But we don't want a person that can do everything. We want a great band, not a great band that can play a million different styles of music. We don't care. We just want some good rock music. That's all we want.
Yeah. Well,
but in the UK, as much as the scene goes in the UK, there's and it's going to be the same in the States. There's so many great bands. There's so many great bands that we play with. When we play these festivals and whatever, and we all have the same conversation: is that it doesn't feel like the paths to the next level are kind of really kind of limited now. Even with if you're lucky enough to get some investment from record companies, and we do okay because we push everything ourselves. We've got our albums coming out and this, that, and the other. Even the guys that have got, there's kind of classic rock labels and things like that out there now. The investment is so minimal that the guys that are even on those labels and getting that investment, they're still working. They do music part time, but they're still having to work because the investment isn't there to sustain any kind of long term career. It's a weird thing. So I guess the good side of that is people are doing it genuinely for the love of music rather than making money. But the flip side of that is how long can you sustain that for?
Good point.
It's a strange thing.
Yep, that's a point I bring up a lot of times because I've had a lot of bands in the United States and they say they do it for the love of music. And, I do understand that. But after a while, that love of music, the love of any career that's making you starve, and I don't mean to use the word starve, but after a while, you start getting a little bitter, you get jaded, and then the bands start to have conflicts. I see that in the States. That's what happens. The bands are going to gigs. They're going to gigs in any city you want to talk about. Phoenix, New York City, Philadelphia. And the commute time from one gig to another, because every venue wants to have fresh faces, especially when you're in the east part of the United States, where you do have close enough cities where you can have draw from other bands from nearby or 2 hours away drives. When you're in Phoenix, it's a little more complicated. But all the venues want to have the fresh faces. So they've got to commute that couple hours. And by the time they commute that couple hours, pack up all of their gear, because a lot of these fucking venues don't even have gear set up for them, so they got to bring their own gear. By the time they do all that manipulation to go in and play a gig, and then the complication is if you're not a native band to that city, you've got to then coordinate the association with the bands that are popular there to help you boost up your popularity so that you get some of that, that community there to back you guys up as well. So the whole thing is very, very complicated. It's not so like I said, the bands travel to the next big city, and then when they walk away with not enough cash, eventually the fighting starts happening. And when the fighting starts happening, the creativity drops to a minimum, if at all. And then band members start fading out. They have to get new band members, which sometimes new band members is a good idea because it reinvigorates the band and rejuvenates it. But still, the whole thing is complicated. Let's play another piece of music. Then I'm going to come back. I want to talk to you a little bit about more. And you can come back and talk about that situation if you like to. But let's play another piece of music. We've got three other songs here we can play. What should we do next?
We'll go for Fallen Star because it was one of the singles. So yeah.
Okay, and that's cool. It fits right into this segment with that other fucking radio personality who does a classic rock show, and he's now a fallen star. Although we got to say, we got to really be honest, because this show is about all reality. The guy never was a fucking star, so he loves listening to my show too. By the way, right now he's calling up. He sent me a video. He's at the top of the Brooklyn Bridge. Shall we? Let's edge him to jump off. Okay, let's do
it, man. Let's do it.
Let's make sure. Let me coordinate it, because there's a boat. I see it right now. There's a boat going underneath the bridge. So if he jumps now, he'll hit water. We want him to hit a solid piece of. We want him to hit a boat. Right? We want him to be taken out of his misery and out of our misery. So okay, so here we go. Here we go to Dave Darren Show, Fallen Star. Here we go.
Millions of good friends lying face down cold on the floor. Pictures from the past, pills and broken glass. Your demons won't haunt you anymore. So where are you tonight? A distant shining light. We love you from afar. You're a fallen star. Whispers from the wings of what fame and fortune brings became a distant noise to your ears. And those faces on the walls of those who fell before, they never found a place in your tears. So where are you tonight? A distant shining light. We loved you from afar. You're a fallen star. You filled our dreams and
Hey, welcome
Good
back
man.
to the Dave Darren Show. I've got the name of the band is. You shout it out this time.
It's Mark from Daylight Robbery.
Cool. Okay, Mark, very good segue. I want to know who's in the band, including yourself, and the instruments that you guys play or the vocals being produced.
It's okay. We'll start with the lead singer. So the lead singer is a guy called Tony Nicole. Tony is probably one of the funniest guys I've ever met. He's a very deep guy. Writes very, very deep lyrics. His lyrics are always, there's no taking any shortcuts with Tony. He generally writes pages of lyrics per song. Takes his lyric writing very seriously. Takes his vocals very seriously. He's got a fantastic voice, fantastic range, and he's the only lyric writer in the band because basically none of us can write lyrics as good as he can. But he's also an excellent songwriter, excellent melody finder, if you like. He's very, very top guy. I've known him for a lot of years now. I struggle to find anyone more talented than him, to be honest. Then we've got Colin Murdoch, who's on bass guitar and backing vocals. Colin, again, is an excellent singer. He's a lead singer in his own right. But he just loves playing bass with the band, and myself and Cole tend to double up on backing vocals and harmonies that we like to build and things like that weave in and out of the songs. Then there's myself, Mark Carlson, on guitar and backing vocals. As I say, I work closely with the guys to build all the melodies. Myself and Tony, effectively the way the songwriting process works is myself and Tony will flesh out an intro, a verse, a pre-chorus, a chorus. I'll put a solo section together, and then what we do is we send that out as a very rough demo to the band. Then we all get together in the studio with Rob on drums and David Billingham on the keyboards. And because of David's he's very much into film scores and soundtracks. He very much likes to embellish songs from that outlook. So the songs themselves, he tends to look at them as a score almost, and then he will embellish them in that way. We'll sometimes change what we have to write. We'll sometimes rearrange the structure, and that's effectively how we write the songs. So in effect, if we're doing an album of 12 songs, there'll be 12 rough demos that I've done that we take to the studio. They either flow straight through and we copy them verbatim, or we chop them apart. And I think one of the songs you mentioned earlier was a song called Paradise is Lost.
Yeah.
When I first put that together, that was a very different song. I think that the what is now the verse was the chorus. What was the pre-chorus was the verse. And when I gave that to Tony, he was uncomfortable. He said it was a bit too complicated to get a big chorus over it, so can we swap that bit for that bit? And over the period of a couple of rehearsals, it morphed into the song that we recorded on the album. So yeah, it's a very cool way of doing things that we've got, because there's not much. It's extremely understood that the role that each of us have in regards to making the music. So there's hardly any conflict there at all. We have a tried and tested formula that we use, that we've always used, and it always makes for a really good relationship. You were talking earlier about it changes chemistries in bands when you have to get new members, and there's a lot of stress because of the pressures of trying to get somewhere. But we try to minimise that with the way that we write and how we get to the end product. I diversified a little bit there. Sorry, mate. On keyboards we have a guy called Dave Billingham, who, as I say, is extremely influenced by Hans Zimmer, the movie score writer. And on the drums we have a guy called Rob Chivers, who's an absolute animal on the drums. Yeah, absolute animal. As most of them are, to be fair. As most of them are. Yeah.
Hey, Stixie, let's go clubbing.
Nah. You go, though.
Come on, Stixie.
Nah, I'm over the whole... Well, clubbing's not very nice, is it? I mean, if you like someone, why would you smash them over the head with a weighty piece of tree?
Because it's a guaranteed knockout?
Yes. But what if you're a woman?
Yeah, but I'm not a woman.
I know that. But are we that different?
Well, yeah. We got a penis and they got a bug's cave.
But do you ever think that we're more than just this physical body? Like there's something inside us that thinks about stuff and has hopes and dreams and...
Yeah, I know what you mean, but women don't have that.
But they do, though.
Clubbing's what my dad taught me.
Yes, and he also taught you to throw poo when you're cranky, because he's a monkey.
Take that back.
Take what back?
You take that back.
I can't take back the fact that your dad is an actual monkey. I don't understand.
So let me ask you this question, because you were talking about Paradise is Lost, and I was checking out all your videos, and you said that you take your music and you go to the studio. So let me ask you this, because some bands in the United States, when they talk about studio, they've got a home studio set up. So now not only do you have the band producing and writing the music, you have the band doing the stage performance, making sure you guys rock on stage. You got the bands now being merchandise salesmen, they're selling T-shirts and all that. Now you got the bands producing the music and recording the audio and all that. When you say go to a studio, do you mean go to a studio, or do you mean you go to your home studio that one of you guys has rocking? How do you produce these?
Right. Okay. Yeah. So that's two sides. When let's say I'm writing a song, we got to say I can actually turn the camera here and show you. So hang on a second.
Okay.
I'll just pick this up. So I've got this setup in the house. Okay. I don't know if you can see that there.
Yep. Oh, you have a.
Yeah.
I think that's a hooker in the corner there. Do you have a nude hooker in the corner? I think I saw one there.
Hey, big boy, what are you looking for today? My name is Carmelita. Listen, Papi, if you don't want something, don't waste my time today. You come out here to make fun of me.
No.
Fuck off, douche.
No. Get in the car.
See, Papi, see.
Yeah.
The lumberyard?
The lumberyard?
You go to the lumberyard?
Yeah.
Fuck my ass in the lumberyard?
No.
Oh, this car is nice.
Yeah, this is
nice, Papi. You make a lot of dinero.
Now I'm gonna take you to my roommates, and if they want to have sex with you, we can do that, okay?
It's going to cost.
I know it's gonna cost.
Cost a lot of money.
Yeah, and we'll figure that out.
It's at least $14.
$14?
See.
For what?
See, for everything, Papi. I do it all for you.
Did you have a job before this?
See, Papi. I suck dick at the Burger King.
At the Burger King?
Now I suck dick at the Chick-fil-A. Watch your vlog.
You watch my vlog?
Yeah. Can you take a selfie? Selfie.
That's gum.
Oh, shit. You owe me money, you got that? So don't fuck with me. I'm the fucking boss, you got it?
Jesus Christ.
Okay, Papi, you can drive now.
So when we say studio, when we're writing the stuff, it's just effectively our lockup or our venue that we use to be able to play loud and write. So that's where we pull all the stuff together. Now, obviously, when we're recording, we'll take it all into a recording studio now.
Okay, I'm curious about the videos too, because I've seen your videos. They're very well done. And you know, when I have bands come on the show, it seems like there's about 50% of them that have a couple videos, and the other 50% don't have videos at all. And it's interesting because when I did the radio show on terrestrial radio, you know, people will listen to music, but when you introduce them to videos, the energy level, the enthusiasm, and the excitement level goes up. People really want to be connected. Everything now is visual. You know, we got the cell phones here. Everything's visual. You know, we've gone from watching porn on these devices to watching music videos. So why not have music videos?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll give you a subscription to a good one I found. But I am curious about this. How important are videos to you guys? I think they should be important, and it seems like they are to you guys.
Yeah, we do take them seriously because we try not to do what other bands do, and every band says that. You know, every band says no, we try to be different, but we do. You know, we won't go into an old warehouse and set up a sound stage and have a couple of cameras flying in on us and things like that because it's been done to death. So you were talking about Paradise is Lost and Tony's lyrics on that. They're based upon, God, this is going to sound so nerdy. It's just going to sound ridiculous, particularly when you're trying to be rock and roll. You know, you don't want to sound like a nerd. But effectively, it's about Nikola Tesla.
When you moved to LA, did you expect yourself to be where you are today?
Hell no.
Why?
I don't know. I don't expect to be a legend, but now
you're not a legend. Who would you compare yourself to?
Albert Einstein.
Einstein.
Nikola Tesla.
Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, Nikola Tesla.
Tesla.
That's what the song's about. You know, he and there's references in the song to the Wizard. The Wizard is Nikola Tesla, and there's reference to the Rockefellers and things like that in there.
He was called the most hated man in America, yet the New York Times described him as the world's greatest giver. He was America's first billionaire, and he gave half of it away.
Wow. You guys all look fantastic. How much for all of you? How much? 500? How much you?
I'm priceless.
600 for you? How much for you?
I need like 12.
12? Oh, you gotta step over here. All right, so you guys I can work with you two.
And how we could give energy for free, but they didn't want to. They wanted it to make money, etc., etc. So all these references are in there. So we thought of a way that we could encapsulate that in a video using Nikola Tesla, using that story with some live footage from the band and things like that, and all that's fused together. I think it works really, really well. But I mean, you can see the length that we've gone through in the video to get the idea of the song across, and we don't see the video as just a mechanism to see the band and recognise the band. We use it to try and tell a story a little bit. It's the same with Samara Never Sleeps. That's based upon the character from the Ring. From the Ring movies, and we use that theme to develop a whole song, and we use that video there to kind of tell that story of this person that's trapped. She can never sleep. She just haunts everything all the time. And it's the same with the other single, Fallen Star. You know, again, it's a tragic ballad. And again, you actually hardly see the band in that one. It's its own. It's almost like a mini movie in its own right. So yeah, we do take them very seriously, because I think you have to now. You have to find some sort of USP, some sort of selling point for people all over the world to try and recognise you because how else are you going to do it now? Because there's no real industry there anymore.
Yep.
So
Hang on 1 second. Hang on. Don't lose that thought.
No worries, dude.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but hang on. Hang on. Okay, undivided attention now. So keep going where you were. If you remember.
I'm just curious as to who you keep going back to see. Is there a woman you've got hiding back there?
Yeah. Well, actually, I got 2 rooms here. I've got the mother-daughter in one room, and I got the twins in another room, and I got a third room that I'm expecting midgets to come into. So it's going to be a whole circus here. and that's going to be on YouTube next week, by the way.
This is so difficult, especially me having little
I'll subscribe.
arms.
You'll subscribe. There we go. So I'll tell you what. Let's continue with what you were talking about, if you remember, and if you don't, then we'll play the track right now.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'll think you better play the track now, mate. You've completely thrown me with your mention of midgets.
Do you have a fascination with midgets? Because it's funny, I had this other band on from the United States, and the guy was, I said something, and not to repeat my humor, but I think I said something about midgets, and the guy was scared to death of midgets. And I said, come on, you don't I said, you don't find the little short stature and the nice curvy booty, because usually I have nice booties and breasts. I find that to be, because when you squish them down a bit, it's like if you have a piece of rubber doll and you squish it, it's got to come out the sides a little bit. So you squish it down, and then you get I think that's why. I just think gravity has hit them rather hard. That's what it really is.
Mate, I honestly don't know what to say.
You better not say anything, otherwise we'll both get fucking sued, all right? Or my show's ratings will go down, your band will no longer have fans anymore. So let's shut the fuck up and play the song. So what was it? We're doing Paradise is Lost on the Dave Darren Show. Here we go.
Cool.
It's no fantasy to see an end to hunger, suffering, and poverty. Can't be reality. We can change the world and bring a light into the darkness and forget the real. Yet you might be still. The wizard turned to fool. For one time to ridicule.
future tell the truth and evaluate each according to his work and accomplishments. The present is theirs. The future for which I have really worked is mine. I have the power.
Welcome back to the Dave Darren Show. The name of the band is, I'll let you announce it again this time. Since I
the name of the band is Daylight Robbery.
Okay, very cool. So we were talking about the music. Now let me ask you this question. In the UK, and I've asked this a couple of other times, but I'm really curious. Maybe you seem to know a little bit more. Maybe you do. How is radio out there? Like, I've got a radio show that I did on terrestrial radio. It was an original music show on a station that actually gave a fuck about original music. So shout out to them that they really cared. However, when they really care, it's like they're a low-powered station. They're not any of these big corporate stations because they restrict what's being played there. So that's a problem. So then when you have a radio personality like me who hates that control freak mode that they got you boxed into, then you try to do online radio. Online radio is very complicated because to get noticed on an online station when there's thousands of them or millions of them. There's a guy in Ethiopia probably doing a show right now. So and he's not eating food because there's no food in Ethiopia. But so he's got no commercials for Burger King or McDonald's because there's no fucking food there to eat. But I'm sorry. This is a brutal show, isn't it? But we got him spinning music. And then we got everyone else doing it. So to have someone found on an online station is difficult. So now I do this video show to try to up the ante to have music videos out there since everyone's video now. But in the UK, how is the entertainment scene for you perform? Can you get your music on radio at all? Is it a hopeless cause? Is it online radio is significant there? Or are there other idiots like me doing video shows which are starting to kick ass? What's going on?
I think it's God, how do you explain this? I think you've got the situation where you've got the corporations that own all the main FM stations. And that can be difficult to get on. We've been lucky. We've managed to get onto a few of them. So we've been able, and then you've got things like the BBC. They also cover regions. So different parts of the country, different counties, will be covered by a BBC station. It'll be like BBC Gloucestershire, BBC Warwickshire, and things like that. So there'll be almost subsections of the main BBC of Radio 1, Radio 2, etc., etc. And then next to that, you've then got the independents who are owned as you said, by the big corporations, and they dictate what they're going to play. It doesn't matter whether it's a rock station or a pop station or a classic station. It's never the DJ playing what they want to play. It's always them being told what they're going to play via a playlist and whatever. That gets frustrating because, as I've said a couple of times to a couple of the big stations, and I know that our management has been doing the same as well. How can you have a local band that's played at Black Sabbath's final show at the NEC Arena near Birmingham? We've played with Whitesnake and Def Leppard. We've played at Nebworth with Dream Theater and Metallica. We've toured with Uriah Heep, and they can't get a track on the radio. And so since that discussions, we've managed to get one or two on there, but it just becomes ridiculous because they're almost cutting off their nose to spite their face, because it comes back to the thing we were talking about earlier, where you've got your Metallicas and your Iron Maidens and your Deep Purples and things like that, but they can't go on forever. And it's the same with music that you listen to. At some point, people are going to think, well, I can get all this stuff on Spotify that they're playing on the radio, so why can't they give me some new stuff and maybe I'll carry on listening to them? Because, seriously, there's one radio station, and I swear to God, if Living on a Prayer isn't played 20 times during the day,
wow,
then it's been a good day. And you just know that on the hour, every hour, Living on a Prayer is going to be on.
Incredible.
And it's like, come on, there's as much as a great tune as that is, seriously? That was 30 years ago, So it's almost the same thing as with the gigs and with the festivals and things like that. It's almost the same argument. But yeah, I mean, we've had some success. We've managed to get on, the regional BBC stations. We've had some play on some of the FM stations, and we get a lot of play on the internet stations. But again, it all feels like there's so many people just trying to run to stand still almost. They're just trying to survive. With very little money or investment. Yeah.
Hang on a second, I got to get my AC adapter. I'm not going for the midgets. Hang on, I got to get
the Sure.
Okay, I'm back now. You know what the problem is that the batteries I have in a laptop, these lithium-ion batteries, it's the same ones. It's the same ones that fit in my wife's vibrator, and she uses them sometimes and drains them down to like 50% power, and then it's a real pain in the ass. I guess literally it is, because there's ass play with vibrators, right?
Quality, yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. I'm curious about this as well. When you write music and you're compiling it for a CD, and I don't think I've ever gotten any band to answer this question, or maybe it's been a while since I've asked it, but how do you actually determine what goes on a CD? I mean, you write the song, and you write it from the band's perspective. So then before you want to spend the money to put it on that CD, you kind of want to make sure, or do you want to make sure it's good for the fans, or is it mostly the music, is it mostly for yourselves, a true product for your band's identity and what you guys write? Or do you play it on stage a few times and try to see how it's working out before you actually spend the money to put it on that piece of vinyl, which is vinyl's coming back, or the CD product, or even something that goes on a thumb drive, but it's still an effort to record the music. So how do you come up with that product that's ready for market?
Right, okay. For us, the first album were songs that we hadn't done any gigs, we hadn't done any shows, we just recorded them, got a small deal and got it out there. That was it. That was all we did. Fortunately, it got great reviews. The music press liked it, this, that, and the other. So that was good. That then enabled us to build a bit of a following, get a bit of a name, and then gives you the impetus to get the second album out there. Now, with the second album, because we had a bit of a following and because we had some good shows lined up, things like Hard Rock Hell and things like that, we got some of the songs ready to play within those sets. So we dropped some of the songs off the first album to try out stuff that we were going to be putting on the new album. And when that stuff goes down just as well as some of the songs that people know, you're onto a win of those. So they get retained and they get put on the new album. with the album coming up that we're starting to write now, we've got 3 or 4 songs done now. So we've booked, I think, it's 4 or 5 dates towards the end of the year in small venues where we can go out and we can actually try the songs out. So we're taking a couple of local bands out with us, and we're doing half the set of our current songs that we've got that people will know, and we've got half the set new tracks that we're going to try out. You know, and obviously, you know, your ego says that yes, the new songs are going to be even better than the songs before, but we're using it as almost a litmus test to see whether we're on the right track with the songs or not. If we're not on the right track, I don't know what we're going to do. Cause you know, do you stay true to yourself and do you believe that those songs are good enough anyway, or do you kind of take the approach where you think, well, people don't like them, let's start again? I have a feeling it will be the former because you have to satisfy yourself fundamentally.
Yeah.
You know, as someone who takes music seriously and takes their instruments seriously, and this, that, and the other. But it's good to get feedback to know whether you're onto a good thing or not, I guess.
Right.
So it's a bit of both. It's a bit of both of what you're talking about.
Okay, one more question, then we're going to play another piece of music. But I'm curious about this. Do you ever, you know, collectively, you guys, you know, you said that some of the writing, the lyrics come from one individual, and the other individuals, I'm sure, very much collaborate on creating the final product. I'm sure that's true, right? Everyone's okay.
Yeah.
So, is there ever a fear like you come up with a track and you think, "My God, this is a great song. Our audience loves it." When we wrote it, we were pure geniuses when we wrote this song. Right? Now, do you ever worry that, oh my God, that's the pinnacle song. That's our one-hit wonder. How are we gonna...
Yeah.
What do you do? You can't.
You hit on that, yeah.
Yeah. What do you do?
When
you
we wrote Samara.
When
we wrote Samara, and the irony here is that Samara was one where I literally put it down onto a demo. The whole track, drove to the singer's house, we put it on his studio, we had a listen through it, 2 days later he had the lyrics done, and the song didn't change at all, it was exactly the same. And that song, even though it came together so simply, we thought, Jesus, are we ever going to write a song that's better than that?
Wow.
You know, because the chorus harmony, and the pre-chorus, and the middle 8, the guitar solo, the intro, it all felt like the perfect song.
I'm sorry, you broke up a bit. Did you say, what did you say, pre-chorus, or did you say the clitoris in the band? What did you say? Well, it broke up again. Skype is brutal.
Yeah, mate, you're a bad influence. You're a bad influence. Dude, I've just got to mute you for a sec because my crazy beagle dog wants to go outside to, you know, find a midget.
Oh, okay. Your turn to take a break now. Okay, I'll see you in a bit. No problem.
Thanks, soon.
Okay, no problem. Testing 1. Good.
I'll just give you a quick story on that because it is funny.
Okay.
We played at Nebworth a couple of years ago, so Sonosphere, and obviously we weren't on the main stage. We were on one of the smaller stages, and this goes on the truth. So we're back. One of my favourite bands is Dream Theater, so we're backstage with Dream Theater. I'm talking to John Petrucci and Jordan Rudess and all these guys. I'm talking to all the guys. We're with all the other bands and generally having a laugh and whatever. Going out to see Metallica, listening to Metallica rehearse their songs in a truck, you know, and this, that, and the other. So we're doing all that, which is great. We came home on the night, and I got up the next morning, and the first thing I had to do was clear up dog shit in the back garden. and you know, if there's anything that can bring you back down to earth...
No kidding. That's right.
Yeah. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah. It's funny. I thought this was going to relate to the dog shit story. And somehow or another, I had ESP that was going to come down to that. It's going to come down to a bag of duty. I knew it.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Very cool. So, I'll tell you what. Let's play another piece of music. I think I have one more, but I know that you might have another one beyond that. I'll tell you what I have left. I have, what is it, Cross Your Heart. I think I have that one left, right?
Yeah, go for Cross Your Heart. That's off the first album. So yeah, go for that one.
Okay, welcome back to the Dave Darren Show. Name of the band is, I'm going to let you outnumber me, although I'm going to fuck it, I'm going to say it. Daylight Robber in the Dave Darren Show, and I'm rapping here with Mark. So who was the original inception of the band? Was it all you guys and you're all still together, but you said drummers. What was the scoop? I forget now. It's been a while.
Okay, yeah. We had, when we got together in 2011,
right.
We pulled together people that why do you do the actions? You know, I'm actually pulling here like that. Pull people together, you know, to get the band together. So it was myself, Tony and Colin. And then we didn't have a keyboard player at the time. We had just a drummer. So it went out initially as a 4-piece, and then we then managed to find a keyboard player, because keyboard players are incredibly hard to get hold of. You know, you find that they're usually involved in a band already, and they're actually doing 2 or 3 gigs. So we managed to get one.
But is a keyboard player, like I see a lot of bands, and I seldom see a keyboard player. Now, is it because of the keyboard players are so hard to find, as you just said, or is it because people that are out there to listen to rock music aren't expecting a keyboard player, so you you don't want to have a keyboard player that's just got to share in the wealth of the band performing, or what is it with the keyboard player? I love
No,
keyboards.
man, I don't think it's any of that. I think they're just weird.
Huh.
Yeah, I think they're just strange. Yeah, so...
By the way, my wife's a keyboard player.
Strange.
My wife's a keyboard
because they're
player.
strange, you don't tend to want them. But so it didn't work out with the first keyboard player. Lovely guy, he moved on to something else, which is cool. The original drummer was a very kind of sleazy, kind of Guns N' Roses type drummer, which is cool. But we were veering away from that direction. So we managed to. We've had another 2 drummers since then.
How'd you get rid of the sleazy drummer? What'd you do? Set him up with a hooker that had like a venereal disease that was uncurable, and that's how you got rid of it?
Yeah, that's what we did. Yeah.
There you go.
I wanna get chlamydia like no one's ever had. Herpes inside my butt and every kind of grab. Hey, is lupus an STD? In that case, I will pass. Is Ebola an STD? You bet your bloody ass.
STDs, gotta catch 'em all.
On your knees. I'm gonna give you mad cow disease.
STDs.
Oh, my heart is yours and it's as open as my sores.
STDs.
My balls are blue and purple and orange too. By the way, it's time you knew. I poked your mom. Gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all.
STDs.
The other one, we set him up with we set him up with some lady boys.
Lady boys, nice.
You were on the Wheaties box.
I did do all of
when
that.
I was 8 or 9 years old, like right in
I'm trying to get back on it now. But, you know.
So you're able to slip him a drumstick, right?
Yeah.
Girl's crazy about a sharp-dressed man.
He didn't even realise. Yeah.
Wow. So if he didn't realize he's had it before. He was probably penetrated by 2 of these lady boys, so the opening was well wide, right?
So so you have to be careful how you deal with these things because you don't want any of it coming back on you. So we just got plenty of photos and told him to go away. Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, the doctor barking to come back in. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay, no problem. That's okay.
Typical. It's absolutely pouring down with rain and they're soaking wet now. Brilliant.
Wow. Well, it's always raining. It doesn't rain as much in the UK as we think it does because every time I watch something...
it does.
Wow.
Yeah.
How's that with a gig? Because obviously you got all the equipment that is obviously very expensive equipment, right? You can't get that shit wet. How do you...
Yeah.
That's got to be complicated, right?
Oh, it's a pain in the ass when it's raining, particularly when you're playing outdoors. And you're thinking, Jesus, my gear, because you always want to have your best sound and your best amps and your best guitars, and you're thinking, well, these are like, really expensive guitars, you've got your Mesa Boogie amps and things like that, and you're thinking, Jesus, I just don't need this stuff getting wet, but, it's, again, you just do it for the love of it, don't you? You take the gamble.
Well, that is tough, because I know in New York City, obviously, there's a lot of outside gigs in the summer. Now, as you get closer to the end of summer, you get a lot of thunderstorms that blow through. So you got the weekend gigs they're playing before sunset, which is about the time that the thunderstorms start blowing in. And they do have the stage protected. They've got a canopy over the top and they're protected. Yeah. But the problem is when you get thunderstorms, you get the wind. You don't know where the wind's going to blow, right? It's not like a prostitute where you know where they're going to blow. But so the wind, you have no idea where it's going to blow. You have no idea. So then you got the wind blowing on your Mesa Boogie amp, right? So it's it's complicated. It's to play in a band is complicated. I did it in the 70s, so I do know.
Of course, when it rains as well, your fingers get cold. You know, so that's a nightmare. You know, so the keyboard player, being a guitar player, being a bass player, being a drummer, if you get cold, you know, that's the worst thing ever. You know, because your muscles start to freeze up and this, that, and the other. So yeah, but again, you just do it for the love of it. You love doing it, don't you?
Yep. And you're right. When your fingers are wet, you're on a guitar that's electrified, and you have a risk of shock there. I mean, playing an instrument is very different. When your hands are wet because you were inside of a vagina, it's okay because there's no electricity. Unless you got my wife's electric vibrator, right? I can take every fifth sentence and fuck it up all over. I've got that talent.
Oh, dude, I'm actually speechless because you know when we said radio interview, I did not expect this. I expected a load of mundane questions, like you always get asked. You know, how long have you been playing guitar, Mark? You know, that's the type you usually get. You know, I didn't expect this.
I didn't expect a kind of Spanish Inquisition.
I did not expect this.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
I expected a load of mundane questions, like you always get asked.
Our chief weapon is surprise.
How long have you been playing guitar, Mark?
Surprise and fear. Fear and surprise. Our two weapons are fear and surprise.
You know, that's the type you usually get. You know, I didn't expect this.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. I know.
Yeah, that's right. So you get the question like, what kind of guitar do you have? Where's the F-hole located? Me, I'm going to ask if you've ever stuck your penis inside the F-hole because you were lonely for the year.
And I'm not going to answer that on air.
Okay. All right. Okay. Don't worry, I'll dub in your answer. I'm good with that. I'll dub it in. So what's coming up with you guys next? Are you playing, like you said? Let me ask you this. I got this curiosity. In the United States, I sometimes ask the bands, what do you guys like playing? Do you like playing the festivals because you've got a collection of people? However, a lot of times they're just walkers by. They'll walk by, they'll hear you play, and most of them will walk by and they'll walk by the tip jar, because in the United States we do always have a tip jar in Central Park. They'll walk by, they'll ignore the tip jar, and they'll just keep walking. In fact, sometimes they'll feel guilty, so they won't even come close to the band. They'll be backed off so that they can easily avoid the tip jar, right? So then I asked them, compare that with a typical venue, like in New York City, we got Rockwood Music Hall, we've got the Bitter End, and those are places that are pretty popular, so they're good places, except they're funny over there, because what they do is they have the bartender, or whoever's walking around serving drinks, they'll actually physically walk around with the tip jar. And then it's a great way to collect tips, because you got the guys there that are with their girlfriends, and they'll look like cheap motherfuckers if they don't put a couple bucks in the tip jar, right? So that's a good gig. And then we got the dive bars, which are like sometimes sports bars / dive bars. So you have that in the UK. You probably got all those selections: dive bars, venue, and festival. What do you like the best?
It's weird, dude. I've never seen anything like that in the UK. But in saying that, I don't think there's as many venues over here as there is, you know, let's say in New York, for example.
Toilet brush is the best back scratcher ever.
You've probably got more venues in New York than in the whole of the UK. Because it's just not good, you know, and there's venues closing here, there, and everywhere. Every week we hear of a venue closing, you know. So it's not really a good scene. As far as we go, the venues, the gigs that we like to do, it's always great doing your own gigs because you're fully in control of everything. You know, you're in control of how long your set's going to be, this, that, and the other, and you work backwards from there. And it's always good when we make a point of getting. We don't usually get the agents or the venues to get the support bands because we want to make sure that the bands we have on with us are always really good as well. Because, you know, then people enjoy it, and it also gives us a kick up the backside as well. It makes sure that we're on the ball. I do like it when we play at the bigger venues with bands like with established bands, you know, bands that are household names. Bands that we did Y&T last year. We did those guys. We've done we did Black Sabbath's last show and things like that. And we do that because you always feel that you can kind of take some of those people that have never heard of you before.
Yeah.
You know, it gets you out to the wider audience. So they're always good because, you know, your adrenaline's flowing because you know that there's people there that hopefully are going to like you and hopefully buy whatever product you've got going out there at the time. So yeah, so that's generally the way to look at it. Some festivals you feel that sometimes they try and get too many bands on at the same time. You know, you'll turn up at some place and you find out you've then got a half an hour slot. You've driven, you know, right the way across the country for a slot at 9:30 on the night, and you find out you're on between 9:30 and 10, and you think, well, I've just driven for 3 hours to do a half an hour slot with 10 other bands, and then I've got to go home again after that. And you think, well, you know, was there any point to that? Really? You know, so, and especially when our songs tend to be 6 minutes or over, it generally means that we get to play kind of 4 songs and then we get to go home. You know, so they're the ones that you like all the gigs, but I think they're the ones that you like the least.
Yeah, gotcha. Wow, interesting. So what's coming up next for you guys? Are you now doing a bunch of gigs? Are you playing out? Are you in a rehearsal studio mode, practicing new material? Are you out there recording? Do you do them all together? Because some people do that. They do all of it mixed up together. What's coming up next?
Yeah. We've done a conscious switch off now for up until November because we've got so many tracks that we need to demo and so many tracks we need to get out there. So the plan of attack now is we're in writing mode until November. November and December we've got a few gigs to try out these new songs. That runs into January and February. So up until the middle of next year, I think, we'll be writing, demoing, trying out some songs in smaller venues just to try them out and see how they go. And then we'll be recording. Then we'll be in the studio recording, and then get it mastered and get it out there. We're waiting to hear on a couple of major support tours with bigger acts that I can't really say at the moment because if they don't come off, I'll look stupid. But we're waiting for those to come through. And obviously, when something like that comes through, if it does come off, you kind of down tools because you need to get ready for that because that's an important one to get the name of the band out there again. Mm-hmm. And we then got to make sure all our marketing's right. Got to make sure the websites are, you know, all fully up to date with all the information that people need to get your product and things like that. So there's a lot to do. But effectively, we're waiting upon those, but we're in writing mode at the moment, so we're writing a third album.
Wow, very cool. So when the new material comes out, do you typically put some teasers out on Reverb Nation or Sound? Are those both popular in the UK, for instance, Reverb Nation and SoundCloud?
Again, they've started to tail off. They went through, a couple of years ago, they were quite popular. But it started to tail off a bit now. People don't, you know, I think they're going down the same road that MySpace went down. You know, whereas it was popular for a time and it starts to tail off. But we always make sure that all our stuff's on there. You know, if people want to, you know, have a listen and things like that. What we do tend to do is put together a promo video for YouTube, and almost do it as a TV advert. You know, where it's got, you know, the new album from Daylight Robbery, and it's got tiny snippets of the songs on there.
That's cool.
And then just put that out there as a promo.
like the idea of teasers because I'm not going to make a sexual joke about this again, but I do like.
I knew you was.
No, I'm surprising I'm not going to, but I like the idea.
All right, okay.
I like the idea of teasers because I think we need to make people want the music again. When you give up too much free music out there, then the wants of that music kind of go down because they're expecting to get it easily and for free. So when you put teasers out there, I like that idea because you're giving them something that's going to capture their interest. And then you're telling them, look, it's available, though, and support us and buy the product. So you make it available for the guys you make them want it, and then you've got the material available for the full to support the band. That's it. Okay, so how do people... go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and that's probably one of the things that's helped to kill whatever industry there was, is people are too keen to get things for nothing.
Yeah.
And the internet makes that so easy. But what it means is then there's no money generated for the bands, but then the bands are expected to, pay to play. Some of the offers that we've had, and you get the contract through, and you just go, well, there's no point. We won't bother. Because we'll actually be out of pocket and we won't gain anything. So why bother with it? Why bother putting yourself through it?
Yeah, I've told this to bands. Now tell me if you think this is true. A long time ago we had Napster. You remember Napster, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Napster was fans of the mainstream bands. It was mostly mainstream. There weren't a lot of original bands. It was all mainstream, and it was theft of mainstream music set aside, collected by the fans, distributed by the fans, stolen by the fans, and given to other fans. And now it's funny because now I consider Reverb Nation and SoundCloud to be the bands putting their own music out there, saying, oh, "Here it is, take it. It's pirated."
Yeah.
So it's almost like the bands themselves now have been the ones that are pirating their own music.
Yeah. They will cheapen themselves. For what result? For what result? Because all you're doing all the time is you're just lowering the bar all the time.
Absolutely.
Lower the bar. So where do you go? Once that bar's at ground level, where do you go? So it's horrible. And I remember Metallica got a lot of stick, didn't they, with Napster?
Yeah, and I love that they did that because I think that they should have stood up to Napster.
Yeah.
And maybe if there was more of an aggressive standing up to Napster, maybe, it's funny, I say Reverb Nation and SoundCloud, they're tools, but the SoundCloud and Reverb Nation are not your friends. They're corporations that thrive on the music, and just as much as they can get, they want it. But there's no policing of that, and maybe you can't expect them to do it. But the bands themselves should kind of say, my product is valuable. I've spent time on this. I've spent 10,000, what is it? The guitar player says 10,000 hours before that guitar player is proficient. I forget what the hours are, but there was a lot of hours. You spend that amount of hours, and it's almost like, okay, at this point, I'm now a professional. So I want to be treated as a professional. I want to be respected as a professional. So you want to treat yourself as a professional.
That's right,
Yeah.
And you do, but you want to behave as a professional. But if you took it to another industry, let's say you're a draftsman, and you've spent years going to college and getting your qualifications, and would you then expect someone to knock on your door and say, "Hey, I'd really like you to do some work for me tonight. Can you draw this for me?" Would you be expected to do that for nothing? No. You'd never be expected. It only feels like it's this industry where people are expected to become proficient at something, good enough to play it live and in a professional environment, but people don't really want to pay you for doing it in the first place. It's weird.
Yeah, it is strange, and it's really strange when you watch every movie has a soundtrack behind it.
Yeah.
Every commercial in the United States has a soundtrack behind it.
Yeah.
Everyone on their cell phone, they'll download the cell phone ringtones, which is typically mostly a musical piece.
Yeah.
So there is music in your life constantly. So there should be continual value placed on it because it's such an important part of our lives. So it's just it confuses the hell out of me. So that's
you're absolutely right. Yeah.
That's why I do the show here, to try to help you guys out and help all the bands out with a show that actually gives a fuck about what you guys do.
Right, and what a legendary show it is.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Do you have a closer song that I did not download yet? Do you have anything? If you have something that's not mixed with video, don't worry. I'll fuck it up with midgets.
Let's have a think. God, that's putting me on the spot a little bit. We'll go for We've done Paradise is Lost, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. We've done that. Yep.
Yeah. How about something a bit different? Something like Between the Lines. No, Red Lights. Red Lights.
Red Lights. Now, is that a video or is that just music?
That's just music, dude. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So, would you like me to put twins, a midget, or a mother and daughter in this scenes?
Yeah. Actually, no, man. I'm just sorry, dude. I'm just thinking there. We've got a video for a song called "Crossing the Great Divide."
Okay. Oh, you were just scared. Yeah. You were just scared shitless that I was really going to put those midgets in that video. Red Light,
that's
right?
it, man. I just want to protect ourselves.
Okay, so we'll play that.
I don't want to be known as the midget rock band.
Okay, so we'll play that as the close of the show. You were kick-ass. By the way, one shout-out of how people get to you best. Do they get to you best on Twitter? Do you like that best? Do you like Facebook? How do people engage with you the quickest?
Yeah, they can get to us on Facebook or Twitter. On Facebook, it's just Daylight Robbery. On Twitter, it's Daylight Robbery Rocks. And the website is www.daylightrobberyrocks.co.uk.
Cool. Awesome, man. You were incredible to talk to. Thanks so much for being on the show. Make sure you come back on the show. This is not a one-time
Absolutely,
thing.
man.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries.
Sounds cool, man. Thanks so much for being on the show, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thanks a lot, dude. Cheers, man.
Peace out, man. Bye-bye.
Are like an endless highway. It's just a ride, the twists and turns. Seems to me the more we ride, the more we learn. So many miles and words divide us. So many ways we're worlds apart. If we could reach across the distance, build a bridge back to the heart. It seems the longer we ride down this lonely road, the further we stray from the truth. That the ones we've lost are right beside us, showing us the road to choose. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. We're crossing the great divide tonight. Just one love, one life, last chance to decide. We're crossing the great divide tonight. I hear you crying from a distance. I feel you hurt and your tears of pain. Why do we fight and kill each other when we are really all the same? Why are we here and does it have meaning? Where do we go? What have we learned? Seems to me we are all that's ever been and will be again. It seems the longer we ride down this lonely road, the further we stray from the truth. Yet the ones we've lost are right beside us, showing us the road to choose. Crossing the great divide tonight. Just one love, one life, last chance to decide. We're crossing the great divide tonight. Yeah, yeah, tonight. I watch the news and sometimes I wonder just how it feels to be you tonight. As you lie there in the darkness, too scared to live, afraid to die. A new day is chance to decide. We're crossing the great divide. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Because there's one love, one life, last chance to decide. Oh yeah. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. We're crossing the great divide tonight. There's one love, one life, last chance to decide. We're crossing the great divide. Ooh, yeah. Alright. Our lives are like an endless highway, just to ride the twists and turns. It seems to me the more